In this video, we're going to take a look at Notion's powerful browser extension called the Notion Web Clipper. The Web Clipper allows us to easily clip content from anywhere on the web into our Notion workspace, to save it for later and to centralize everything inside of Notion. So for example, whether you are watching a YouTube video, reading an article, listening to a podcast or anything else, if you want to save it, you can use the Web Clipper to directly save it into your Notion database. If you haven't installed the Notion Web Clipper yet, I highly recommend you do that because it's one of the most powerful tools Notion has to offer. And again, it's available on all major browsers. So Google Chrome, Safari, and also Firefox. Now, once the extension is installed, you'll see this little small Notion icon in your browser bar. This might look a bit differently depending on the browser that you're using. I'm using Chrome, and for me, I have this little icon in this little bar up here. And now to clip something, we just go to a page we want to clip. So again, let's pretend we're on the Notion blog. And let's say we want to clip this article that we have over here. In order to clip it, we can just click on the Notion icon and then a small box will appear. Here at the top, we can actually keep the title that we have by default, which is the page title, which Notion got from the page. We could also make changes. So blog post from Notion, maybe we want to write it in there as well. And then we can choose which database or which page we want to add this to. So if I click on this button, you see this menu pops up and I can basically decide where I want to add it to. Now we don't have that many pages, but I could just add it to our homepage for now, just to show you how it works. So let's do that and then click on Save Page. And now it actually added this to our homepage. So if we go back into Notion and scroll down on our homepage, we'll see this new entry in here. So this was just added by the Web Clipper. And if I click on that, we get actually redirected to this page, which has the content and has the link. And if I click on that, I get to the Notion blog where we just clipped the page. The awesome thing is that this also works with actual databases. So let me just quickly show you this with this same example. If we go in here, and we want to save this again. And in this time, let's just choose our meeting notes database because that's one of the only meeting notes, one of the only databases we have. So let's save it into there and let's open up the meeting notes database inside of our Notion workspace. And now in here, we actually do get this as well. And you see how it also added this URL property that wasn't there before. And that's because the Web Clipper always saves the URL together with the name so that we can actually go back to the page to check something out. So this is great for collecting learning resources, collecting recipes, and so on. So there's one more thing I want to show you with the Web Clipper. And to do that, we're going to clip a recipe into the recipe database. Again, if you don't have that in your workspace yet, you can download it from the course resources down below. But yeah, so let's just use this vegetable fried rice as our example. And let's try to clip that to our Notion workspace. So in this case, my workspace, this is the test workspace I have. And in here, I have a recipes database. Now we get these annoying pop-ups, which we're just going to ignore for now. And let's go back to the recipes database. And you see at the bottom, it appears in here. So just how we like it to be, we got the recipe, we got the link. We will obviously need to add these other properties ourselves because Notion has no way of knowing if this is a 2-star recipe or a 5-star recipe. But what's really interesting and important is if you open this up as a page, you'll see that it actually already put in the content from the recipe. So we just clipped it to Notion, but it took the content of this page and added it into the page inside of Notion as well. So we basically don't even need to go back to the website. We can just read everything from here, and it has the whole recipe with all the images and stuff like that. So really, really awesome tool, especially for these types of use cases where you want to clip the content of the actual page as well. So makes it much easier, and you can do even more directly inside of Notion without having to go back to other websites. The last thing I want to talk about is that this also works on mobile devices. So here I've got my phone and I'm on the recipe website again. And now I can also share this here. So to do that, I'm going to go into my settings, and this is Chrome again. So the Chrome browser. And I'm going to go to share. So this is again German. Don't worry about that. And in the share settings, I'll actually look for the Notion icon right here. And I can now just do the same thing I could do on the browser extension. So here I can add the title. I can choose which database I want to add this to. Actually want to add this to a different workspace altogether. And then in here, I want to add it to recipes. So search for that. And perfect. Boom. Let's add it. And now this page is added to our recipe database again. And you also see how it appears here in the database. So this works like a charm, and yeah, something that you can never underestimate with Notion, because it's just so helpful to have these tools in place.